Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday morning to you, and welcome back to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I'm the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma, and I want to get right into my video this morning as I attempt to answer the question: what kind of Sukkot gathering, or what kind of gathering was typified by Sukkot? You see, we're focused on the feast days of Israel and their typological, i.e., their prophetic meaning. And in the ancient literature, in the scholarly literature of those who study and know about the feast far better than I do, as a matter of fact, they agree virtually unanimously that Sukkot, the Feast of Harvest, the Feast of Ingathering, also called the Feast of the Joy of the Nations, it represented the final harvest, i.e., the resurrection. And the reason I've been focused on this for so long is because when we come to discover that Paul said that the miraculous gifts of the Holy Spirit, just as Joel said they would be poured out in the last days before the coming of the great and terrible day of the Lord, and Paul was anticipating the end of the miraculous gifts. Where there be knowledge, it shall cease. Where there be prophecies, it shall fail. Where there be tongues, they shall cease. And you cannot make the Greek text there mean anything other than those miraculous gifts would end when that which is perfect would arrive. The charismatic function of the Holy Spirit, and by the way, for clarification, I do not deny for even one moment that the Holy Spirit, with the Father and with the Son, dwells in us today. I deny that that is a miraculous thing, as in having the ability to lay on hands and heal and raise the dead and etc., like the apostles and first century saints could do. So there's a clear-cut delineation between the charismatic gifts of the Holy Spirit and the Holy Spirit with the Father and the Son dwelling in us by faith, according to Ephesians chapter 3:14 and following. So, pardon me, I'm focusing on the time for the cessation of the miraculous gifts of the Holy Spirit. It would be at the time of the day of the Lord. It would be at the time of Sukkot, the end time harvest. And I've been asking the question, what kind of gathering is Sukkot, or did Sukkot envision? Yesterday, I demonstrated for you, fairly effectively, I think, that Jesus was the one who was supposed to come and to restore the tribes of Israel. Well, the restoration of Israel would be her resurrection, Romans 11:15. Not only that, pardon me, Jesus emphatically said, "O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets and stonest those who are sent unto thee, how often I would have gathered you together." Well, that's the mission of the Messiah. He wanted to gather Israel. But folks, let me reiterate what I said yesterday. Not one time did Jesus ever hint or suggest, even remotely, even vaguely, that he desired to physically gather Israel out of all of the nations. It's just not in the Bible. Now, let me drive this home. Now, notice, this is really, really cool, seems to me. Matthew 23:37, one more time. "O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets and stones those who are sent unto thee, how often I would have gathered you together, but you would not." So the irony of this is, here is Jesus standing in the ultimate gathering place, physical gathering place, of all of Israel. The temple was the heartbeat of Israel. It was the center of their world. Ezekiel 5, 8 and 9. Jerusalem was called the perfection of beauty. Psalms 48 and 49. Psalms 48 specifically. It is difficult for us to grasp how important Jerusalem and the temple was in the psyche, in the mentality of Israel. That is literally where the nation gathered, literally, physically, bodily, 3 times a year. Now, hang on to that, okay? Literal Jerusalem, physical Jerusalem, was the locus of the physical gathering of Israel 3 times a year, just like the Lord commanded them to do in Exodus 34. Okay? Now, Israel refused. To put it like this, and I hope you follow me on this, that literal physical gathering place of all of Israel, i.e. the temple, the leaders of that place refused, and Israel refused, to be gathered to Jesus. Jesus never indicated that the temple would continue to be the place of a physical gathering of Israel. Matter of fact, he said, destroy this temple, and in 3 days, I'll raise it up. And the Jews understood him to be talking about that physical temple. They said, 46 years this temple has been under construction, and then you're going to tear it down and raise it up again in 3 days. But he was speaking of the temple of his body. Here's the temple of the end time gathering. Here is the temple. Here is the ultimate episynagogue. Now watch what happens. Jesus predicts the utter desolation of that focal point of Israel's physical gathering. As he's walking out of that temple after saying, I would have gathered you together to me, the apostles immediately began to show him the stones of that temple, magnificent as they were. And Jesus says, do you not see all of these things? The time is coming in which not one stone shall be left standing on top of another. I'm going to destroy your physical gathering place. What would that leave them? Nothing. Oh, wait. Nothing except him. In Matthew 24, after describing that impending judgment, Jesus said, immediately after the tribulation of those days, the days leading up to and consummating in the fall of Jerusalem, the sun shall be darkened, the moon shall be turned to blood, or shall not give its light. The stars of heaven shall be shaken, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And they will see the Son of the Son of Man in the heavens. That doesn't mean they would see something up in the sky. And they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send forth his angels with the sound of the great trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the 4 winds. What word did he use when he said gather together? Oh, episynagogue. That he had used in 23:37 to say, here's what I wanted to do, but you would not. So I'm going to destroy the physical place of gathering, and I am going to gather to me those who would and will desire and agree to be gathered to me. I mean, these connections are just absolutely full of irony. Now remember, you can't miss this. The gathering that Jesus came to do was not a physical gathering of physical bodies. That is nowhere in any of his teachings. It's not implied, it's not inferred, it's not hinted at. I wanted to gather you, you would not. This gathering place is going to be destroyed, and at the sound of the great trumpet, I am going to gather those who will be gathered. In other words, who agree. But what kind of gathering was it that he wanted to call Israel to in 2337? Well, once again, not physical, not geographical, spiritual. Look, in John chapter 11, 50 and 51, Caiaphas the high priest, they were out of their mind about what to do about Jesus's raising Lazarus from the dead. They just didn't know what to do about it. And Jesus said, it's better than one man perish. It's better that one man perish rather than the whole nation be scattered. And it was indicated that Jesus would die to gather the children of God that were scattered abroad. Now, this is John writing in retrospect of understanding what kind of gathering it was that Jesus came to do. He came to gather together the children of God that were alienated. What kind of gathering was that? Well, what did Jesus say? Matthew 11, 28 and 29. Come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest for your soul. Well, that word rest is from, if memory serves me correctly, from anapausis. It's Sabbath rest. It's related to the feast days because every feast day was a Sabbath in which they rested, anapausis, and there's another related word that escapes me at the moment. Folks, you see how all of this is interwoven? How all of this speaks eloquently to us about the gathering, the restoration of Israel was not to be a geographic gathering. It means that 1948 had nothing whatsoever to do with the fulfillment of prophecy. It means that the gathering that Jesus desired, the gathering that Jesus died for, is to draw, as he said, all men unto me. John chapter 12. That's the kind of gathering that Jesus desired and that Jesus still desires today. To draw anyone and everyone into fellowship with him, to serve him, to love him, to obey him, and to be in full fellowship with him. I don't know of any better good news than this. Well, I'm out of time for today. I'm going to continue this tomorrow to drive home even more that the nature of Sukkot, the nature of the gathering of Sukkot, that which was typified by the physical gathering of Israel to Jerusalem to celebrate Sukkot was never intended to be a physical gathering to Jesus. Nothing whatsoever to do with a physical Sukkot, a physical resurrection. Okay, I'm out of time. Be looking for it tomorrow on the flip side. See you there.